Good morning, everyone. Well, yesterday did not fail to give us another crazy day of moving around. We got a whole body retracement anyway of that giant red candle. Normal market environment would have been a narrow range bar down here, and then possibly up, or it could have been a 1, 2, 3, 4. What is typically would have went down there. This market is special. It doesn't do the norm. So we've got a deep retracement into that bar. Prior high is up here, right? Looking at the hourly time frame, it's creating support. Now, one of the heads up early on was this big green bar. And so when this thing went to roll over in the afternoon, it was unlikely to go back down. Certainly, look, we always say things are possible, but we have to have a thought process, which is what I like to call it, based on the charts and our analysis, the method. And one of the rules is in MTS is that do not sell short a setup that begins with a bullish wide range bar. And so we had this power move up here. And as we mentioned earlier in the week, these kind of bars create voids. And so it dipped down and it came back up. So you got like a double. Yeah, buyers are stepping up on any dip. The bigger, the better. And they believe it's going higher. Now, the hard part with trading, especially intraday trading, is that things can change on a dime, meaning, we tend to think as rational people with logic. And so once we have a set of rules and we see that something does have consistency, it becomes irrational and fights our logic when it doesn't happen. But I just say that for the point is it's just the way the markets are. So as a rule, something begins with a wide range bar like that, especially after a drop. We call it an igniting bar, and the expectation is that prices will go higher. So now the S&Ps, remember the conversation yesterday? Some of you might. It's yesterday or the day before. I told you that these big moves, right, which is this gigantic thing here, are power bars. I also said they're the weakest link. And because there's nothing to the left. So what has to happen is that sellers have to bring in enough supply to create a new resistance area where prices can roll over from. And this is why after a move comes up off of a low like this, it's historically better to wait for some kind of an M top to form a more significant area of resistance to short. So now this is actually formed an area of support, and you could say, well, what was to the left there? Clean this up. This little cluster of opens and closes there is where there was support that created this pivot. And then this one, we had these, and prices have cleared it. So theoretically, this should go up here because there's nothing over here. Now we're going to see if that actually happens, because this is the next pivot point. This is the systematic thought process of looking at support and resistance. Now that would be a pretty amazing move considering this dip on the futures back down to the 50 and where it's at to go all the way up there. So we'll just follow this now bar by bar. So from the 5-minute time frame, we can notice whether momentum starts to slow. This is going to become a pivot. It should become a pivot on the completion of this bar, which is another 2 minutes and 55 seconds. Takes 3 bars to the left. As I'm looking at this will not become a pivot because this bar only has 2 to the left and 3 to the right. So it's not going to pivot. But we have to bring common sense to what we do. It's like, hey, that dipped down there to that pivot and went up. So trading below that won't be a good sign. And if it goes below that from here, it's going to take out that pivot anyway. So now we want to see bar by bar. Can this continue to push up into this area, or at some point, does it, you know, does it move up and then do a retest pattern and come back in and maybe jiggle around in here somewhere, today? We'll see. So there's the thoughts as far as S&Ps go there. So now as far as SPX, as we look at that, where are the safe areas? So this is at the top of the bar. We go look at spiders. We see where that's at, 459 and change. 459 and change. It's right up around here. And so top of the green bar there, a little above. And SPX. Right. So, okay, this, since it's not trading, we make the assumption, okay, that's going to be there too, because that's where it would be. And now how far away can we get? And so 46.65 has got some pretty decent premium. 65 by 80. So you could even go a little bit above that. So should the markets rally, you see they were going up there and you want to wait 5 minutes or so, and they jack the premium a little further to go up above. And 65.70 is 50 cents by 60 cents right now. So you can get far enough away to where even if prices rally, getting up there would be monumental and it would be impressive, but you're far enough away that historically it isn't going to get much further than that. To get much further than that, it would have to have been a significant gap up and have to hang out there a while and, build some support and go higher. Down below, you've got the premiums jacked pretty good. 44.80, 75. I mean, gee, it's up here. If it fails, you can see the hourly chart, right? Of course you can. If it trades below there, it's got a void to go down. But, coming up the way it did, being on support, I would think, 40, you can even go 44.60. And I think you're all good, with those numbers. All right. Other markets, what are they doing? Not a heck of a lot. Qs are broken. They're building some support here. They look like they can go higher. We'll see where they stop, whether it's the 20 or it rolls. Kind of waiting for something to line up here one way or the other. So far, and this one showing some relative weakness, which it did yesterday. When we were just looking at the S&Ps and they were up here, and this is making a lower high. So it continues to show relative weakness. Russell, nice turn day. It's the beginning of something. So I like to call repairing the damage. And it's another example of power bar, right? That's the big red bar there, but it's after a fall. But the power bar, void, weakest link, and it continues to grind its way up into that area. Dow, actually, it did show relative strength early in the morning, and then as the others rolled over, and then it came back, and see the big green bar there. And at these highs, it's getting closer to resistance, which suggests, hey, if it pushes up here first thing in the morning, don't get too excited, because sellers will come in right in that area. Maybe it gets it to 3,500, so just keep it in perspective as to what's to the left there. We looked at ES. Oh, this is the continuous contract there. Silver, not doing too much here. Down at support. I would watch this now that it has not popped up here and it had that ability. This is going to create a little uncertainty in traders that it took out that high and it's back down here. And just think if you bought that above the high there and you're looking at this, you can see the hourly chart. You're not liking that, not liking this. So unless this can turn right back around, what could happen would be a type of a flush, meaning just for good measure, they did the right thing buying down here. But they spike it down and it pops right back up again. And that'll be a great setup. So something to watch to see if it actually plays out. Gold, just trying to make the turn, can't do it. Pivot low there to the left. Some other support. Stay away. Stay away from it. Bitcoin, not doing much of anything. We talked about this red bar spiking down and it coming back up again. And it took out the high of the bottoming tail bar. This is how we use bar by bar analysis. We know that this was bullish gap up there. And historically, it makes a sideways consolidation in a symmetrical way to what was on the left side of that green bar. And we've got that here. So the topping tail didn't follow through very much. And this bottoming tail where it took out the high, that hasn't done anything. So clearly, I believe people are hanging out with Dan away at some nice hotel. They're saying, you know what? We need a little rest from this market. It's a little too crazy. Some relaxation is due. But it's just not going anywhere. You can see how it's kind of dipping down there. Euro will sell there. It's been going down for a long time, and the dollar's been going up, and interest rates. Little relief right down there, hugging that pivot. Pretty much a mess. And everything's a mess. Question, can the markets begin to get turned around here? You see TBT coming all the way back down. And maybe we'll talk about yield curves in the letter over the weekend. Still doing nothing. That's a 3-month. And transports and everything, pretty much had a turnaround day yesterday. Little start of a turn occurring, but angle of retracement, big bars like this, things have to calm down, and that's just some sideways trading. The volatility and the range is contracting. That's typically where a bigger move can start. So we'll see how this develops over the day. All yours, Dan.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Happy Zero DTE Day. So all of our opens are fine. IWM here, we're short some puts that we're going to have to roll, and possibly Boeing also. Boeing had a beautiful close yesterday. It just had a little dip here pre-market. Not sure why. When they were talking about the employment numbers today, never have I seen so much kind of confusion and discussion. They had like 7 people on there at once on the Zoom call talking about it, and like even Steve Leisman said in 25 years he doesn't believe the numbers, know what they mean, this and that. They started off weak and then came back here, as you can see, the spike down. LGVN, this looks like a crazy day trading toy. Every day it's big moves, 25 bucks. It's gapping way up here. Strong pre-market. If it settles down, possibly put spread. This Z Zulu I put in the bottom right. I've been watching this thing and so many other beat up stocks for signs of turning, or until they stop going down. And they come in different flavors: a gap reversal, wide range igniting, and this one very possibly looks like a nice bottom from a bullish gap. So we're gapping right you see here the last week's high. If it can hold, this looks great for a bounce. Long stock, short put spreads, whatever. So that's what, in the morning, I just have a quick two-step gap analysis. One is it's a compelling gap with a price void. Number two, put it in a 5-minute chart, see how it sets up. It's that simple. Although Greg's gap course, he goes through 7 steps, which is what you need to do when you're understanding them. I speed it up is all. So here's another one I'm watching. Climactic buy setup here at support, pick up in volume, gapping over this red bar. You know, I see some stuff over here, but that's a bullish gap with a price void. So that is tier 1 for me. Piton here also. I've been waiting for the turn. It's gapping over, you know, clearly here over yesterday's high. So it's not anywhere near the shock level of those other two I just showed you, but it's a good start. And pre-market here, it's holding very well. So that is a very interesting gap trade setting up. All right, cool, McGraw. APP 84, so it's gapping under yesterday's low. So that's a, you know, it's in a downtrend, but still gapping under yesterday's green bar is a shock. And this could very easily go to 80 bucks, very easily. So that's a day trade short idea. Yext, I don't see where you're gapping, and I got no interest. VR, yeah, TJ, yeah, Diddy got delisted, yeah. It's dangerous trading those Chinese stocks for that reason. You know, they come out with a policy and they can really whack your equity. Look at KWeb here, the Chinese ETF looks horrible. Look at that. That's a, you know, so next week, actually, Greg, we have bottoming patterns, and this would be a very good one to discuss. There's actually three different levels that we could point to. This was this a bottoming pattern on support? Was this a possible bottoming pattern after this green bar? Was this a bottoming pattern? And if so, where do you get in? And now, after the fact, it's a consolidation and a downtrend with a bearish monthly. That looks ugly. SMAR 71. So this is a bullish gap, of course, but the gap's too big. I don't know what to do with this. There's no pattern. Gap's too big to go long. I don't have enough information to short it because it's bullish pre-market. Look at Marvel here ripping. Well, yeah, no, well, that's a no-brainer, McGraw, but, you know, tell me what the juice bar is going to be on a gap like that. Yeah, I mean, selling out of the money puts, yeah, these are always a no-brainer if there's juice. So here's another one, McGraw, gapping to 86 bucks. It's off my charts. Look at 86. Wow, this was a beaut. This is not what we call a textbook W bottom, but so everything else I just throw in the camp of a bullish retest. This was an amazing bullish retest of this prior low right here. Fluid controlled move down, 180 reversal. That is beautiful. So now it's gapping off the charts here, and the gap's too big. You aren't going to get any juice if you say, "Oh, well, I'll sell a $75 put." All right, tell me what the juice is. This had earnings. Can't tell where you're gapping. Messy pattern. If it's gapping up, then you could short a put yesterday's low. Domo was gapping down. Now it's kind of filling the gap in a downtrend. I have no interest. Wow, look at Daku. That is getting whacked. I mean, look at that. It's in a downtrend. It is acting bearish. My gosh, that's an ugly gap. Way down here. Wow, look at this price void. That is an amazing rally right there. And then it went sideways through time. Breakdown failure. Kind of M top. I know. I don't know if that was earnings. I guess it was earnings. And I'm assuming it's a Wall Street low stock. So yeah, let's keep an eye on that too. ASUN 71, another big gap. So it's gapping a support here. Now this was a beautiful bottoming pattern. See, once you have an MT live, we focus on that concept. That was a beautiful bottoming pattern right here. Rally to resistance, little 1, 2, 3. Recent IPO, slopping around, nothing yet. Gapping up 18 bucks. I don't like the way it trades. We can find better. Zoom Z. It shows it gapping up $1.80, but I don't see any prints here. We'll come back to you. The Z we talked about, and Zulu Golf is a sister company. They look pretty identical. Alta 402, big gap, really big gap way up here. And another example, I don't know what to do with it. And so McGraw, sure, we can even do a 15-minute pivot. So 375 put spread, definite candidate if it holds, the gap holds. Tilius, big gap, way up here. Same, I said, I don't like the big gaps. Swabe here, this is Smith & Wesson. Can't believe Swabe's getting whacked. That's a nasty gap breakdown. Hey, detective, that's an ugly. Now, I would prefer if it were gapping down like right here. And then it has room to fall. But that is ugly. GCO, it's, it's all over the place. Got no interest. Mr. Big was down in the morning. It's filled the gap. No pattern. We'll come back to you. Airs, recent IPO, gapping up 11.10. There's still no turn here, but I did post, Greg, your Kilo Delta. It's and this would be another good discussion. Is this a bottoming pattern per se? I would say no, it's not. But momentum slowing, it's a 2-bar reversal, closing little breakout, uptrend on the 15 and hourly. So it's more of I'm trying to nail the bottom. But when we define bottoming patterns, they go sideways more, and the 20 MA starts to flatten out. Mealy, I know you guys were looking at yesterday into the close, pick up in volume, broke out on the 15. PayPal 180 reversal over yesterday's high. Could start off with a day trade. It's a Climo on the weekly. So this is all, and look at this prior low right over here, last December. So multiple time frames in alignment. So McGraw, let's Actually, today's Friday. If that takes out Wednesday's high, I think that's good to go for a put spread for next week. Detective, yeah, a couple of them are these gappers. You should have been here earlier, but off memory here, and I got Hib, Zulu. What was the other one? Piton. PayPal. So those are a couple right there. Ollie North is another nasty gap down. 51. It's in the middle of nowhere's land. But look at this amazing price void after a breakdown. There's no technician that would have predicted this crazy move, just slicing through all that resistance. PayPal. All right, so Microsoft, nothing. And then we always had the usual suspects, right? The fangs. Okta here. Okta's one. Detective. We're already in one. We did it yesterday into the close, but it looks like it's gapping up here a little bit, couple dollars. That looks good. Crowd. Here's another one. Detective. CRWD for 0 DTE. Breaking out on the 15. This I've been watching as this is a bottoming pattern. See that? Went down and went up. It's trying to get its sea legs back, bottoming tail, and you finally have a closing breakout above the 20. That's a nice little bottoming pattern. Cream's another one here. Detective, I hope you're writing all these down. These are all beautiful 0 DTE candidates. Right here at the 200, stabilized, broke out on the 15. So yeah, I'll need some help today, particularly since I'm just on my laptop. Escriera, asking about UPST. It's very sloppy, still in a nasty downtrend. All these other ones that I've been saying have better patterns. That may be a day trade if it sets up, but all right, look at Hib coming in hard now here in the middle chart. Visa's better at least than the other one because you got a 2-bar reversal, but it's still in a downtrend. But 30-minute high, maybe day trade because it has a nice 15-minute chart, but it's still in a downtrend. All right, let's go. So Zulu, that's a nice gap setup. Now, when I say a gap's too big, it's just visual to me. It's not a percent whatsoever. But that